So that's how Nathan shakes hands, man. You can imagine how much energy is about to be unleashed. All right. So Nathan is the founder of Work with the Coach, which is like a social media marketing agency, but he's helped some really big names and some really big brands flex their social media muscles. Folks like Wycliffe, Nicki Minaj, Paul Abdul. He's worked with MTV, with Apple Music and YouTube, and amazingly enough, his career all began with one cold tweet to LL Cool J. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Nathan Allen.
Okay, so I've never used a clicker like this before. How do you do this thing? Can you right now? Which button do we press? The green one? Okay. So how's everybody doing? Good. I know I have the last spot, so I guess all of you are tired and want to go home or go out after this, but I need all of your attention because I got something to talk to you about. And I just started with the, how do I start this? The green one? Okay, here we go. So this is my story. 5 years ago, I was homeless, I was sleeping on my mom's floor, I had 5 felonies, and my dad just passed away. And I was trying to figure out what to do with my life. And my entire life, I had been involved in marketing, but I was just marketing the wrong products. So, I had to figure it out, so I moved to LA in like 2014. I'm going to be brief with my story because we don't have that much time, of course. I got until 4:30. So I ended up moving to LA. I started a digital marketing company from the ground up, and my first client was myself. Come up here and we talk about the amazing people that I've worked with. I can't take the credit fully for those projects because those people were already who they are before I came along to assist or coach, which is the reason why my company is called Work with the Coach, because we actually coach people through the process of their digital platforms. So instead of just sending you a weekly analytics sheet, we're hands-on, we work 24 hours a day, and we're always there. And we understand on social media that things are subject to change. Something might happen in the media, something might happen in that person's life, so you can't always depend on that one content calendar that you send out. You have to guide them through it, you have to coach them through it. And I think that's been my biggest advantage, is just being a people person, because I think a lot of the times when we're doing social media marketing or managing a social media platform, we tend to forget that there's another human being behind that phone. So we are talking at people, but we are not talking to people. And that's where we go wrong. We think that we can automate, or we can just post something amazing and that everybody's just going to engage and just interact and just stay there, because a lot of times we do tend to think that we know more than we know. And you don't know anything about a person until you ask them. So that's why our key thing is to ask what people want, to figure out what's going on in their lives, and to create real human-to-human engagement and interaction. And this is an example of a lot of the social media platforms that I see. It's all crowded with our thoughts and things that we think people are interested in, but we don't actually take the time to figure out what they're interested in. Even though we have the analytics, even though we see what works or we see what doesn't work, we continue to do the same thing over and over. And I don't get it. So I think we have to dig a little deeper, and especially on Twitter. People tell me that Twitter's too loud, but Twitter is my main platform that I use, and a lot of my clients made platforms to get our point across. And I think that Twitter seems too loud because our minds are too loud. We want to tweet out everything that we think is cool, every gift that we think is funny, we put it out because we think it's funny. But I think that you have to be selfless on these platforms. So my thing is to organize your accounts. I like to look at platforms as Wakanda, right? As the platform that you see that you're like, wow, I wish this was mine. I wish that my platform looked like this or that I had engagement like this. But the thing is you can. You just have to take the time, you have to listen, you have to think thoroughly before you post something. And then if it doesn't work, scratch it, throw it out. You don't have to leave it up. I think a lot of times we're afraid that after something goes up, you have to leave it up, which is not true. Not everything that I post reaches a lot of people. Sometimes it reaches 1 million people, sometimes it reaches 500. And that's just the way it goes. So, especially on Twitter, I like to consider my pinned tweet my digital billboard. So that main tweet that's at the top of your page, my goal is always to drive the most traffic to that. Whether you're promoting a book, you're promoting a movie, you're promoting an album, or whatever it is that you're promoting. Make sure that your key tweet is pinned to the top of your page. And you drive traffic, you track it, you see who's engaging, you see who's not. And I like to tell a lot of my clients, especially in Hollywood, you want to spend $500,000 to put a billboard in the middle of West Hollywood, but you don't know how well that billboard's doing. You don't know how many times people have driven by and said, wow, I want to see this. But with social media, you can track it. And I think that's why so many people were afraid of social media, which is why I'm so happy that all of you guys are here today. Because I can say 4 years ago, they did not take us serious. We would get the end of the budget. They would tell us that it did not work. And all of you here today are prime examples that it does work. And also on social media, I feel like, again, it's very, very robotic. Everything's automated. Everything's catered to one demographic, and nobody's out there targeting a new demographic. If you take Microsoft or you take Google, most of the time they're just catering to their audience. And they aren't looking for new people. You already have those people there engaged. So sometimes I think it's important to talk about something different or, dumb down the wording a little bit, because sometimes people just don't understand what we're talking about. Not everybody knows what an SEO is. Not everybody. So my key is to teach people to understand, and everybody to understand, because I think that we can all utilize this. All of us have something that we want to get across. You wouldn't be here if you didn't have a brand that you wanted to grow or a product that you wanted to grow. So I think sometimes companies try to make it seem more extravagant than it is because they don't want you to be able to personally do it yourself. So my thing is, I coach my clients through it and I teach them along the way because I don't want them to need me. I want to grow a project and I want to let it go. But I think most people want to hold on to these clients as if they're theirs. One day that client's going to leave anyway, so you might as well teach them something so when they leave, they can go around and spread that, wow, this person was amazing working with them. This is what I learned. I think we have to stop being so selfish in that area. And another thing with Twitter, I feel like who's ever here from Twitter, I drive a lot of traffic with a lot of clients. Somebody needs to call me. Because I can't get a hold of Twitter, I can't get a hold of Instagram, I can't get a hold of anybody. Literally. So who's ever here from Instagram, work on the customer service, I can't even get a receipt. I can't get a receipt. And it's frustrating. The other day I have a new person that came onto my team and we're helping Stan Lee from Marvel, and we can't even get a meeting inside of Instagram. It took us 10 days to fully get anything. So I'm just saying, no hard feelings, I'm still working. Help us out a little bit because it's not just me. Like, ticket number, hey, we received your email, we're gonna help you. So with Twitter, a lot of people do lazy tweeting, including Kevin Hart. Who's ever doing his marketing if it's somebody in there, you know? Don't be so lazy. Because when you tweet out an Instagram link, chances are people aren't going to go and click through to that link because they're on Twitter. They're worried about what's trending and what's going on. They don't want to go to Instagram. No offense, Instagram. I like Instagram. Somebody call me again. I need to comment. But you know, it's always that people want to automate it to where this is going to go to Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the same time. I'm a genius. They're like, that's how I feel, you know? And I think the key also is to provide real content. Not everything has to be colorful. Not everything has to have a $10,000 budget to record content. The people with the lowest quality content right now are winning. The little viral videos of the cute kids that you see are crazy, you know, whatever, influencers. Those people are winning because I think they provide real uncut content and they aren't afraid that it's going to fail. One, if you spend $10,000 or $100,000 on creating a campaign, of course you're going to be afraid that it fails. Just wasting money. So I think you have to learn how to use the smaller content that's not as pricey and drive traffic to that content. You don't have to always spend crazy budgets. We don't have enough budget for this. And I don't agree with that because when I started my company, I had $400 in my bank account, was working at a coffee shop and a call center, brokering, moving furniture. That's what I was doing. And I had enough money. Because I had this, and I had this, and I had drive. So I think a lot of times we have to stop thinking about the massive budgets that we have if we're working for some huge corporation. Just because they have the money doesn't mean that you need to throw it away because one day they're going to get tired of wasting money and they're going to get rid of all of us. So it's our job to maximize the budgets and to be as creative as possible when we're dealing with these accounts. I started my company using Unfollowers, which is a $40 program. I use Fiverr, somebody to build my website and drive traffic there. I use Fiverr for everything. So it's really not as expensive as we think it is when we want to create something. And I just want to encourage all of you, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that you want to create, just to do it. We don't always have to have the blueprint. We don't always have to have the plan. It doesn't always have to be laid out for 6 months. Sometimes you just take it day by day. Day by day. Every single day, you're laying a brick until one day you wake up and you have a house. So even if you're working for Facebook or if you're working for Instagram, I just encourage you to find something that you love on the side and create that while making someone else their fortune. Make your own. Because at the end of the day, if not, we are all disposable. All disposable. And I don't mean to be a downer, but I just want to encourage people just to try. Because most of the times when you're working for a corporation, which what I'm so against is that people tell you, don't think. Do what we want you to do. And the only way that you're going to get them to change their mind is if you work on your own platforms and you show them that this works. That's the only way you're going to get anybody in the higher seat to believe you, is just to show them what you do works. Because a lot of times I don't even know, right? I never sit there and tell my employees or my staff that I know everything. My ears are open, my eyes are open. I want to know who's doing what better than us so that we can grow. And I think a lot of us just need to let go of the fact that we know it all. Because we don't. I learn something every single day. I'm constantly creeping people's Twitter and Instagram and figuring out what works. Because I realize that I know nothing at all. And that's why I encourage everybody to learn something every day. Read, research. I learned everything that I know from YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and people who are already doing it. I never went to college for this. I don't owe money. I don't have to pay it back. You know? So I just want to encourage you to seek that knowledge and figure it out. Like it's not as hard as people make it seem. It's not that hard. What I do is not that hard. This part is hard. Coming up and speaking in front of all of you, that's hard. I get nervous sometimes. But also on social media, I think that to become a great leader, you have to be a follower. Most people, when you work on a project or an account, they say, I don't want to follow anybody. I don't want to follow anybody. Well, my engagement's low. I don't know why, but I still don't want to follow anybody. Right? So I just encourage people to follow people who like the same things that you like, follow people who like similar things to who you're trying to target. Because you get all of your information from people, even though we think the analytics are so brilliant, they're collecting data from people. They miss a few things, right? They don't catch everything. People catch everything. So I just encourage you, when you're seeking, seek people. And some of the biggest accounts that I follow are Barack Obama. He follows like 500,000 people. Justin Bieber follows like 300,000 people. If you think you're cooler than them, I'm sorry. You're probably not. Because I'm not. So also utilize the analytics that you have. You have, especially working for Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, you have access to analytics that nobody has. They give us this much, all of this. So I just want to encourage people just to track the analytics, track the engagement, see what's working, see what's not working. I didn't follow this at all, so I don't have time. Follow it. But yeah, man, I think anything else, it's like, you can just ask me. I'll be around. Like, if anybody has any questions. And also I just encourage you to use targeting software. They're not that expensive. You can use Tweepsmap. You can use a lot of different targeting software to find out what areas people are in, what are people talking about, what's trending, what's hot, and actually go after those people with your message. I feel like if you build a relationship with those people, chances are they're going to engage a lot more instead of just throwing content in their face like they want it. Like they want it. Invasive. I like to talk to people and actually get to know them before I throw content in their face. Because that guy walking down the street that's asking you to buy his mixtape, or if he can wash your windows, you never see the guy in your life, you don't trust him. But if you see this guy all the time and he's not asking you for anything, but he's giving you. And that's why my key thing on my social media was, what can I give people? What can I give back? Didn't have anything financially to give them, so I gave them motivation. I gave them hope with my story. I gave them inspiration. I gave them love. I showed them love when that was all I had, right? And that goes back again to the human-to-human interaction. We don't understand how powerful what we say or what we do is to another person. You can change someone's life. You can change someone's brand. You can change someone's views on social media, because I think we are one of the least respected things in every industry. I think we are, but I think it's changing, and I think we're growing. But I think it takes this entire community to not compete, but to stick together. So when you're in this room, it could be Facebook, Twitter, might be competition, but you can learn something from that person. Or someone who might not even have their own company or their own brand yet. You can learn something from that person. So I just want to encourage everybody here to enjoy this time, to enjoy each other, to build with each other, to network, to put your walls down, Somebody might not look like you or sound like you or talk like you, but that person could be the person that changes your life. I've had it happen to me. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you have had it happen before. So I'm just happy to be here. I got in a little late, but I'm going to be around if anybody has any questions. How much time we got? I'm going to bring my watch.
20 seconds.
Oh, 20 seconds. Anybody got one question? One question, I'll answer one question.
I can just yell. Okay, Kevin, great presentation. I'm Stacy from GoDaddy.
Nathan.
Oh, sorry. I'm
Almost
a
ready to
little
get
burnt
ready.
out. My question to you is, will you eat an ant live on a video?
That is the weird. Repeat the question because that is one of the weirdest questions.
Okay, here's the context. I just came from another marketing conference, and it's a new game, hashtag conference relay, and their fearless marketing challenge was, would you eat bugs? And I have with me a wafer that I brought from Marketo's conference, and if you will, and I already have a contestant that will take up the challenge.
How big
Let's
is
do
it?
it right now.
Let me see how big it is and we can talk. Wait, I can't really see that well.
It's baked into a cookie, and I've already done it. It was delicious.
I got you, I'll do it.
Okay, up at the bar afterwards.
Okay, perfect. I'm eating a live dead animal.
Yeah.
Insect.
It's not live.
Well, thank you, everybody. Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Leave me under the brush, please. And I'm being so serious. I might not look like I'm so serious. So much.